Well, we're here with Andreas, and Andreas, you've been with LGB Merklin for over 30 years, and you're the product manager.
Yes.
And you oversee basically the design and manufacturing of all the new products or revamps of existing locomotives and so on.
Yeah, the new ideas every year, about 50 new items.
50? Well, that's quite a project. That's quite a workload.
It's a lot to do.
And that's U.S. and Switzerland and German and all
over the world, all over the world. Switzerland, Germany, America, all the items, Rätische, Saxonia, and so on.
So, why don't you tell me what we have here today? We have these new Santa Fe F units and the A and B units, and they're absolutely gorgeous. What makes these different than the ones that you've done before?
The difference is we did F7s before, but they were only painted. Mm-hmm. But if you know the real F7, the one in the California State Railroad Museum, for example, in Sacramento, you see parts of the sidewalls are very shiny. They are made of stainless steel. Mm-hmm. And we talked about how can we make the model looking like the original. And some years ago, we made the Glacis on Tour locomotive, it was 2017, in chromium plated. And this was the only way to bring this to the model, this shiny surface, not a glued foil or not a painted part. It's galvanic, chromium plated.
So yeah, I noticed that looking at it, it really is a mirror-like quality, which is significantly different than just a straight paint job. Yep. And you'd mentioned the foil. A lot of the lesser expensive models will use a paint or a foil, yes. And that foil just peels off after a number of years.
Exactly, exactly.
And you were mentioning earlier when we were talking about this that the factory that chrome plates these is the exact same factory that does the BMW
for example, yes.
Parts.
The logo for BMW or any chromium parts for the bumpers or so. This is chromium plated plastic. It's a special plastic. You cannot make it with every plastic. It's a special chemical type of plastic. And chromium plating is about, I don't know, about 40 different steps.
That's amazing. So these units will go through almost 40 steps till you're finished with this really mirror-like finish on these engines. And it seems to me also that these locomotives have additional details.
Yes, they do. We have additional handrails in the front on the right side, like the prototype, and we have additional handrails here on the roof that the normal F7 units don't have.
And by doing this chrome plating, the details on the sides, the rivets aren't covered up. Everything is very well pronounced, yeah. And really a high definition.
Yeah. In contrary, if you use a foil, for example, a foil covers the details. Mm. Here we have a surface layer with about some hundreds of a millimeter. You cannot measure that, but you see it. Mm. And it's a layer starting with copper and nickel, and so I show you later in another body, which is built up process by process, about 40 processes, all handmade, and that's the reason for the price.
And so these units, because of the additional detailing and the significant higher quality of the paint scheme and the chrome plating, that really does almost double the value.
That does double the value and does double the price, yeah. Yes, because you need time. It's not made, if you spray paint this body, for example, you are ready in some minutes. The chromium plating needs some hours.
Yeah, we were talking almost 4 hours to go through this process versus a couple of minutes spray painting it.
And that's the difference in the costs.
You're doing a limited, very low production run of these, just a few.
249.
249.
We have two A units with different road numbers and the B unit.
And the B unit. And so these are obviously designed to run on your layout.
Sure.
But it certainly almost goes into the museum collector quality
Also.
as well. So it's, you kind of get the best of both worlds with.
But I've seen the GE443, the Glacier on Tour, the last chromium plated. I've seen running on a lot of layouts.
Well,
People use that.
They use it. That's what's nice about this model, I think, is that it's designed to hold up for years and years and years, both inside and outside. And it is so nice to see that LGB is really back again producing top quality, some of the best in the industry for this G scale.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
And it's very difficult in a catalog or a website to go ahead and see, oh, what's the difference between these two beautiful engines like this? And earlier today, you guys always refer to them as let's bring out the ladies. They certainly have a very special place here right now, and the excitement about these coming out in a few months. But in person, they are truly spectacular. I don't think I've ever seen any other locomotive that just the paint scheme and the details just totally pop, on a G scale. These are really, really magnificent. You did a fantastic job on these.
Yeah, thank you.
And it was congratulations on this.
Thank you.
So we've been talking about these beautiful engines and that how complex it is to get a finished product. You were mentioning when we were talking that you'll start out with over 500 of these bodies to get the finished production of about 250.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, it's very, very complex and very delicate, and many, almost 40 steps to get to this point.
Yes.
And can you tell me, I see we have the discoloration and so forth. Is this?
It's it's electrochemical galvanic process. And if the voltage or the current is not exactly the thing you need, you get these marks, and you cannot repair that. You cannot make it new, you have to throw away. This is a sample you see here. We tried to make the sulfur tests for the labels for the sample. We throw it away. And the first we have to do is drilling in holes here. Then you can see the marks on the inside, where you see here the copper. It's one of the first layers. The first station in this machine is an acid. And this acid makes the surface of the plastic a little bit rough. And then we start with copper, cleaning, any other chemicals, I don't know if I'm not a chemical engineer, and so on, about 40 stations until the part is ready. And the main problem is, if you have any surface problems, you have to throw it away. You cannot repair anything, and you don't see these failures on the plastic part. You see it only when it's everything ready, completely ready. And this is the thing for the price.
And you've been working on this project now for, well, the first series of a Swiss locomotive. You spent about 3 to 4 years,
Yes.
learned a lot about that process, and then have now been working on these for about 1.5 years, and about another 6 months to go before they'll be available.
Yeah. The main problem is not the production. The production lasts time. This factory, they make this, the chromium plating, they need about 6-7 months. They started with the serial production in November. The main problem is getting the right points for the contacting for the electric power, the right voltage. That's you cannot calculate that. It's a thing you have try and error, and you need a lot of parts to to test it, and you throw them away. I know a lot of people would like to have it because it's
a lot of people
unique.
Where is that garbage can again?
We have a brass container. I can crash it.
Well, you can certainly see how that value is justified in this process, and just the painstaking step after step after step, and the amount of. I never would have thought that you have to produce twice as many just to get down to your final production. So.
Yeah.
But at the end, even though the ones that we've been looking at have been all still in the prototype and working, which means the finished product's even going to be nicer. These are just absolutely stunning locomotives.
Yeah.